The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. Yeah!
Hi, welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. In this episode, I'm going to go over the best automatic cleaner choice for your pool. And everyone has a different situation, and so your automatic cleaner choice is more dependent on your pool type, your overall budget, your preferences, and your expectations in an automatic pool cleaner. Pool Service Pro, open a Leslie's wholesale account today and receive wholesale pricing on products you use every day. Leslie's Pool Supply offers convenient locations that are open 7 days a week. Another great benefit of opening a Leslie's wholesale account is Leslie's referral program. Get referred to a customer looking for weekly pool service. Save time and money and grow your pool service route and become a Leslie's Pro. And I'm a firm believer that every pool should have an automatic pool cleaner. Since the advent of these cleaners, they've gotten better and better. There's of course more choices, more features, and the ability, again, of these cleaners has really improved over the years. There's a lot of different cleaners to choose from out there. I have my favorites, I have my least favorites, and I have my favorite categories. So there are three main categories. I'll touch on each of these briefly at the beginning, and then I'll break down which cleaner you should choose based on your preference and budget. And I'm going to say that there are four categories of cleaners now. You have the suction cleaners, the pressure cleaners, robotic pool cleaners, and then you have the surface solar cleaners, which are becoming popular. There's been different brands and different makers, and of course some companies went out of business, some changed their company brand name, and I'll go over those probably at the end here for you. Let me start with the suction cleaner. Now these are the most affordable cleaner type that's on the market. A suction cleaner works off of your pool's filtration system. It's connected either at your skimmer or there's a dedicated side port that the builder installed for the suction cleaner. These are sometimes the best choice for you, not just because of the price point, but because of their ability to keep your pool clean every day and during the week. Now, suction cleaners are great at picking up dirt and small leaf debris. They're not great for larger leaf debris. And just remember that all of the dirt will go into your filtration system because that's what it's operating off of. I like suction cleaners for most applications because of the fact that they keep the pool swim ready every day. Now, there are some drawbacks of suction side cleaners, and that is the hoses that go in your pool or stay in your pool. And if you're using your pool a lot, they can be kind of cumbersome. So I would say that if you have a heavy use pool and you're taking the cleaner out every day or every other day, then maybe the suction cleaner may not be the right choice for you. But for those that don't use their pool very often but want to have a clean look in their pool, the suction cleaners work really well in those type of pools. It's kind of like having your manual vacuum head hooked up to your pool all week long, vacuuming the pool. In the suction side cleaner category, there are two types of suction side cleaners. There are the bouncing type. I call them bouncing because they bounce around the pool. And then there are the gear type because they have gears and they operate in a little bit different fashion than the bouncing type cleaners. The bouncing type cleaners are usually less expensive. You can get, for instance, Zodiac Ranger. It starts at like $150. And then the gear type cleaners are a little more expensive because there's more engineering, there's gears, there's more parts in there. And so that's something to think about also, which type of cleaner you want to invest in. I think if you have a fiberglass or vinyl liner pool, you want to lean more towards the bouncing cleaners because they do a better job of navigating those steep inclines in those areas. They also do a better job of cleaning the walls in a vinyl fiberglass pool. So I would probably rule out any gear type cleaners like the Hayward Navigator, the MX8 by Zodiac, or the Atlas or Max, and just stick with the bouncing type cleaner for that pool type. If you're on a budget, of course the bouncing type cleaners are going to be more affordable. They usually have just one part that wears out over time, which is the diaphragm in there. And if you have a creepy crawly, it has what they call the flapper, and that thing lasts pretty much forever. So the wear of the bouncing type cleaners is better on your budget. They don't work as effectively as the gear type cleaners. The reason why the gear type cleaners are better, they won't get stuck anywhere in the pool. So if you have a bouncing cleaner that gets stuck in the step areas or somewhere in a corner somewhere, then you probably would have to replace it with a gear type cleaner, which are engineered not to get stuck in the step areas or anywhere else because the gears will actually turn the cleaner out of any area in the pool. Some gear type cleaners climb the walls really well. I mentioned the Zodiac MX8 Elite, the new Atlas, and the new Max by Polaris uses the same platform as the MX8 Elite. and they climb the pool really well. And I think one of the things that you have to consider with a suction side cleaner is that it's one of those things where you don't really have to worry about it. So if you have a pool route, most of the customers will have a suction side cleaner for that reason. There's no need to have the customer put the cleaner in the pool or turn any valves. It just turns on by itself when the pool is running. So they're great and they keep the pool really clean. And I would say that most people can get away with a suction side cleaner. And there's a lot of positives with a few negatives with the suction side cleaner. Then you have the pressure cleaners. These are cleaners that are usually popular in the South, maybe the East Coast, not super popular in California. They run off of a separate booster pump. When the pool's built, the booster pump is usually installed and it has a dedicated line that pressurizes the cleaner, and it works off of the water pressure coming out of this dedicated return line. The water pushes all the debris into a bag on top through what they call venturis, which are small jets. Just think of like a garden hose and you have a high pressure nozzle. And this is kind of the same concept. That high pressure will kind of push the debris through the bottom of the cleaner into a bag on top. The pressure cleaners have probably the biggest openings in the industry. So you can even pick up like gophers and rodents and giant lizards. And of course, they're great for large debris. The bag has its limitations, but they do have a sand silt bag by Polaris, and these bags work really well. They're picking up the finer dirt. I'm not sure what micron they're rated for, but they seem to leave the pool pretty clean if you're using the sand silt type bags with this cleaner. Of course, the Polaris Quattro has a chamber inside, a dual layer chamber, and this does really well with dirt also, as well as leaf debris. It's the only pressure cleaner that actually cleans the walls of the pool. One of the drawbacks with these standard pressure cleaners is that they just do the bottom of the pool. They have a tail on them, and that's supposed to kind of loosen up the dirt on the step area and kind of spray the walls and get the dirt off the walls, but not super effective. So if you want a pressure cleaner that actually cleans the walls of the pool, it would be the Polaris Quattro, and this one cleans the walls of the pool really well. There's also a Leslie's version of the Quattro available called the P40. It's the same thing, but it's a white version. And again, this is probably the top of the line pressure cleaner. It's going to cost you more than the other ones, but it does a great job. There's also a non-booster pump pressure cleaner in the Polaris 360. And this is a great pressure cleaner if you want to have the benefits of picking up large debris without having to have the booster pump. I would say the Polaris 360 would be the way to go. This is one of those cleaners that's often ignored because people will gravitate towards a suction cleaner with a pool. But if that pool has heavy debris, I always recommend the Polaris 360 over a suction cleaner at that point. There's a few things that need to be set up for the Polaris 360 to work. You have to have 1.5-inch threaded return lines, and you also have to have a pretty decent sized filter and pump. I would say no less than 1 horsepower for the pump, and no less than maybe a 300 square foot cartridge filter. You could probably get away with a 200 square foot cartridge filter or a full-size DE filter or sand filter, because there is some back pressure associated with the Polaris 360 because you have to close off maybe one return line. And again, it's using a return line pressure to power the cleaner. So you may see the PSI in the filter go up by 3 or 4 PSI when the Polaris 360 is running. If you have a small filter, it may not work as effectively because of that back pressure. But to me, it's a great cleaner to put in the pool if you have heavy leaf debris and your suction cleaner is constantly getting stuck and getting jammed up. The Polaris 360 would be a top choice. And I think I should mention that there's a device called the Pool Skim, and this device will go on your return line and act as a secondary skimmer. It's really an innovative design, and it's an innovative product. It's a little bit unsightly because now you have this kind of second skimmer sticking out of your pool with a bag on back, but it's highly effective for surface debris. So if you have a suction cleaner and you're noticing that it's getting clogged up because you have just too much leaf debris, maybe you're emptying out the skimmer every day or two, then the Pool Skim might be something to look at. It's not super expensive. It's fairly easy to install. It's from South Africa, so it uses kind of these weird PVC pipes as far as sizing. So you have to kind of use what's in the bag itself to kind of, or the box itself to get it working. But most pools, you can set it up with no problem. And I think it's a great way to eliminate a lot of the surface leaf debris. It's one of those things where you may not think about it and think how effective it can be. But if you have a suction side cleaner, again, that's getting clogged up because of too much surface debris, check out the Pool Skim. I think it's a great product and it's a great way to create a secondary skimmer on your pool. I personally like pressure cleaners because I think they do a great job if they're set up correctly of getting pools clean with heavy leaf debris. There are a few pressure cleaners in California, so it's not like there's not any, but there are some pools that have the pressure cleaners. And again, both Polaris, Pentair makes one also. They're effective in a lot of ways, but a lot of times you're going to have the pool built with the booster pump to begin with for the pressure cleaner to even be something on your radar, which in a lot of cases the builders don't do that. They'll put a suction side port in, but not a pressure pump or a port for a pressure pump or a setup for a pressure side cleaner. So that would eliminate that one just for the fact that you need to have a special booster pump plumbed in when the pool is built. And let me move over to robotic pool cleaners, which I think is an emerging category. There are some places like Europe where you can't get anything but a robotic pool cleaner. And I think this is kind of the trend in the Midwest and the East Coast. The robotic pool cleaners are extremely popular. I was doing service when the first robotic pool cleaners came out on the market, and they were really clunky. The motors weren't water sealed well. They just didn't work very well. They moved extremely slow. They had a simple programming. If you're thinking about the Aquabot robots, if you know what I'm talking about, they would go forward, up a wall, back down, up the other wall, back down on the floor. They would cross the bottom. So they weren't highly effective. Now the new robotic pool cleaners have mapping technology. They have really good programming. And I think robotic pool cleaners have a lot of great benefits. One of the benefits is the fact that you would just put it in the pool when you need to use it, and then you would take it out. They're not really daily cleaners, so if you're the kind of person that likes your pool completely spotless every day and you don't want to see even a leaf on the bottom, this is probably not the cleaner type for you, because you'll put it in maybe twice a week to clean the pool. Definitely before you have a pool party, it'll leave your pool spotless. So if you're the kind of person that needs to have your pool debris free every day, I'm talking about the bottom of the pool, then a suction cleaner and a pressure side cleaner is probably a better choice for you. But if you're just someone who wants to have the pool clean when you need to use it, or every few days, then the robotic pool cleaner would be a great choice. Now you can leave it in there all week and program it. There's a lot of models like the Polaris Alpha IQ or the VRX IQ, the Epic, the higher end Epic cleaner, and some Dolphin cleaners that you can program a weekly cycle and leave it in there all week. I wouldn't recommend that because you're going to wear out that cleaner a lot faster. To me, they're not really designed for everyday use, even though people want to use them every day. I think the best way to use a robotic pool cleaner is to put it in the pool once or twice a week, definitely again before you have a gathering or a party. And this is what makes the robotic pool cleaner so effective, because they can clean the pool very rapidly and very thoroughly within 2 or 3 hours of you putting it in there. So for me, the robotic pool cleaner would be a top choice for a lot of people. The bottom debris opening is usually large, not quite as large as a pressure cleaner, but it's definitely large enough to pick up larger leaf debris, and you wouldn't have any problem unless your pool has like gigantic debris, putting a robotic pool cleaner and cleaning it. Now, as far as dirt, they're all a little bit different as far as microns. I use microns because, basically most of the robotic pool cleaners can clean as low as 20 microns. Now, there are some that claim to clean 2 or 3 microns, and this is with a kind of bag in the cleaner. But most of these cleaners will clean down to about 20 microns. I'm thinking about the Dolphin cleaners with the filter basket with the cartridges lined in there. These are really effective at getting dirt out. One of the advantages of the Dolphin cleaners is that cartridge filter, and this is basically the cartridge material that's on your cartridge filter, and it does a great job with dirt. Then you have the Polaris that probably gets down to about 40 or 50 microns. I think their sand silt says 70 microns or 60 microns, but to me it seems like it's much finer than that. So I'm going to say that's about a 40 or 50 micron canister. Others are like 100 microns, maybe 150 microns. So consider that as a factor when you're shopping for robotic pool cleaners. If your pool gets fine dirt, you definitely want to get a cleaner that's rated to get that. There's nothing wrong with buying a Polaris cleaner. Most of the cleaners have a sand silt canister available. But again, the Dolphin does have the advantage of having the cartridge lined filter that does a great job with dirt in the pool. So I would lean towards that, again, if you have a lot of dirt. But as far as leaf debris, the robotic pool cleaners do a great job. They also clean the pool up to the water line, sometimes even the water line. So they'll leave your pool spotless from the bottom to the walls to the water line. And the convenience of that is that once you're done, you can just take the cleaner out, wrap up the cord, and put it away. One thing a lot of manufacturers are moving towards is a cordless robotic pool cleaner. Robotic came out with their first really marketable one, the CX1, and their Volt robotic pool cleaner that has no cord. And I think it was a pretty effective cleaner. It still is an effective cleaner. You can still purchase that one. It's a pretty big and heavy cleaner because that one has a really long run time. But of course, Dolphin and Polaris have come out with their cordless cleaners. From the other manufacturers from overseas, you have Apier and a lot of other ones with cordless cleaners. So they've been on the market now probably for about a good 5 or 6 years. And of course, the technology is getting better and better. I guess the benefit of the cordless cleaner would be if you had the next category of cleaner, which is a surface cleaner. And by the way, if you're looking for any kind of podcast on cordless cleaners, I have those also. Just type the word cordless in and you'll see the different cordless cleaners that I reviewed come up there in the podcast website. But if you're looking for the fourth category, which is the solar surface cleaners, I think a cordless robotic pool cleaner would come in super handy for one of these because these cleaners do okay with the hoses in the pool. It's not something that's ideal for them. And there's two companies that make the solar cleaners now. There's the Ariel, which was Solar Breeze, and they kind of converted it. I'm not a big fan of the color scheme of the Ariel. And when I was talking to them at the show, when I was talking to Paul over there, I said, why don't you guys make like snap-on color side panels so that people can change the color of the cleaner? And he liked that idea because I think the color scheme for the Solar Breeze was much better than the Ariel. Now, as far as the way that it works, the Ariel is a solid cleaner. And then you have the Beta from China. I don't think they knew that beta kind of meant like beta testing, and they named their cleaner the Beta, B-E-T-T-A. But it's a solid cleaner. They keep improving it. They're a company that really wants to make a cleaner that works well, a surface cleaner that works well. So they keep modifying the cleaner and making it better and better. I think this last version of it, the Beta 2.0, is probably one of their better versions, and it works really well. So if you have a lot of surface debris and you wanted to have something that would, run on the surface cleaning it 24/7, not quite 24/7, but when it's charged and running, usually during probably like 7 in the morning is when most of them turn on here, and they'll run into the evening in most cases, then turn off overnight, and then they'll recharge and start up again. They have an internal battery also, by the way, that stores some of the charge. But these cleaners are really good for pools with a lot of surface debris. The skimmers can be effective, but sometimes there's just too much debris, and it's a great way of keeping the surface clean. So if you had a cordless robotic pool cleaner, you can drop it in there to clean the bottom without worrying about the cord being pulled into the surface cleaners. And again, they don't work as effectively with a pressure cleaner or a suction cleaner in the pool, just for the fact that they have to navigate around the hoses, and sometimes it doesn't allow them to clean the pool surface effectively. But you can use one of these solar surface cleaners with a suction cleaner, with a pressure cleaner. Just note that the hoses are going to probably interfere with the cleaning pattern. It's not going to be, again, as effective as if the pool had no cleaner in there. Let me circle back to price point. So again, the suction cleaners would be the least expensive, and then the pressure cleaners and the robotic pool cleaners would be the more expensive ones, with the pressure cleaner being, in the $600 to $1,000 category. If you were going to replace the booster pump, that would raise up the price to the price of, an elite robotic pool cleaner. But you can get a decent robotic pool cleaner for about $600. I don't think I would go any lower for something that's going to be lasting a long time and being, something that you're not going to have trouble with, every day. You're going to go out there and it's not going to be working properly. So you want to spend a little bit of money with the robotic pool cleaner. I would say the sweet spot is somewhere from $800 to $1,400 would be the sweet spot for the best robotic pool cleaner types. Of course, the more money you spend, the better that cleaner is, the more features it's going to have. I mentioned the Polaris Alpha IQ Plus and the VRX IQ Plus. These are probably the top of the line cleaners that you can get. They have like tons of bells and whistles, including app control. They have a 70-foot cord. So these are cleaners that are kind of in the premium category, but you can get away pretty well with a $1,000 robotic pool cleaner. And you want to, of course, make sure it has a solid warranty. Most of the Dolphins and Polaris have a 2-year limited warranty. Some have a little longer, depending on the model. So the warranty is important. And also a service center. So when you buy the cleaner, make sure there's a service center nearby, because a lot of times you're not going to be repairing the robotic pool cleaner yourself. This is one of the advantages of a suction side cleaner and even a pressure cleaner. Most of the repairs for both of those types can be done at the pool side. you would just purchase the part, and you can swap out the part that's broken or not working. With a robotic pool cleaner, the only things you can change are kind of the wear parts like the brush on front or the bands or the tracks. But a lot of times if there's something mechanical, you have to take it into a dealer to fix. So one drawback, there's technology built in. And so with that, there's some added costs to getting it fixed. Whereas the suction cleaners being the lowest price cleaner, the parts and the repairs are easy on those cleaners. So this is something to consider also. Besides your budget, how much do you have in your budget to repair the cleaner? And although the robotic pool cleaner has some built-in conveniences, it's one of those things that because of those conveniences, you have to pay for that. So I think, the budget is a factor for a lot of people, which cleaner they're going to get for their pool, and also their preference for how clean they want their pool every day. If you have a pool and you spent, $200,000 to have it built with a beautiful infinity edge, you probably don't want to have a suction cleaner in there ruining that look. A robotic pool cleaner might be a better choice for you in that case. If you don't care how the pool looks, then I would say a suction cleaner would be perfectly fine. Each cleaner has their drawbacks and then their pluses. Now, the last thing I'll mention, if you have a pool with a beach entry, and I get this question all the time, the only cleaner that's effective for a beach entry pool would be a pressure cleaner, because that's not really dependent on the water level. It does kind of depend on it, but since it runs on the return of the water, if you have a suction cleaner with a beach entry, it's going to come up to the beach entry and suck air. And a robotic pool cleaner won't really navigate the beach entry, even though there's some models that say they will. But I really haven't seen a robotic pool cleaner either that's been effective with the beach entry. So I think you just have to kind of figure out which type of cleaner you want for your pool, what your budget is, what your expectations are. And then you would just research it. And of course, my website, Swimming Pro Learning, has an automatic cleaner section where I go over all these details for you. And on that same website, Swimming Pro Learning, if you're looking for other podcasts I recorded, just on the banner, click on the podcast icon. That'll take you to a drop-down menu of other podcasts I've recorded. You can listen to those at your leisure. And if you're interested in the coaching program, you can learn more at poolguycoaching.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a great rest of your week, and God bless. Pool Service Pro. Open a Leslie's wholesale account today and receive wholesale pricing on products you use every day. Leslie's Pool Supply offers convenient locations that are open 7 days a week. Another great benefit of opening a Leslie's wholesale account is Leslie's referral program. Get referred to a customer looking for weekly pool service. Save time and money and grow your pool service route and become a Leslie's Pro.